storefronts really had a beautiful charm to them. And so we will be taking our ugly storefront and making it into the historic 1900s look with lots of open glass and retain the beautiful arch and the stone. And the interesting part about this building that is one of a kind in Marshalltown and very few in Iowa is it's a red limestone block that was found in Arkansas, I believe, a long way away. It's just not a common rock. So it has many arched windows in the building, and that makes it something that we really want to treasure and restore. And we're doing a lot of mortar and tuck pointing and new roof, just about new everything. The building had not been utilized for probably 40 years. And if someone wouldn't have come in to start renovating it, revitalizing it, it would have had to get torn down. And we certainly didn't want to have that happen to our main street. We're proud of this community and want to do what we can to keep it revitalized and right in the hub along with everybody else in Iowa.
There's been a lot of activity here at the Kibbey building. They poured the footings, they built up the foundation with cement block, then a waterproofing went on top of it. There was a black coating, never gonna have any water in the basement. And then a nice 3-inch insulation went on top of that, and that was this yellow covering that you'll see in the background here. That's an R factor of about 20 right there, so it's gonna be wonderful on that side of the building, something it's never had before. And the scary scaffolding in the back, well, you got it. We are ready to start the burnished block construction. That is going to be the beautiful final version of that wall. It'll be kind of a gray color. It'll be a great backdrop for the park that's going in behind me. It'll be a wonderful backdrop for the living vertical garden that'll go on the wall and some artwork and sculptures. So I'm real excited about that. Well, the tall chimney from this historic building is now just a pile at the bottom here. And we're saving the brick so that it can go for some infill on a couple windows over here for the new electric meters and service panels they'll be putting in. But the mason told me that that chimney was constructed very well back in the 1900s because if it wasn't for the engineering of how it was put together, the mortar had pretty much rotted out, and he would just tap the brick a little bit and lift it off. And the chimney had stayed all this time, but now it's going to see a new life. Probably one of the most important projects that's going to be starting in the next few days will be the roofing, because the Kibbey building has a gap about this wide between the wall and the building, so it has been taking on snow, rain, and ice for the past 4 years. And what you see in the background is the insulation that will go on top of the building, and then a brand new roof will go on top, a roof membrane will go on top, and I'll look forward to having that tightened up. And of course the guys are hoping they get that done before it gets to be 32 degrees. Today we have the concrete guys here, and busy at work tearing out the sidewalk and the street area so they can get the 4-inch water line put in for the sprinkler system.
Well, I'm down here in the dungeon. I have hated this place for a year, and now that they got the lights going on and it's cleaned out, it's okay. I'm kind of into it. I like the limestone wall. You really feel the history of 115 years going on here. And this will be where that water line's coming in. They'll bring it on up through. They have to drill through this. It's about 20 inches thick. And all the meters will be down here. And they'll have the sprinkler system coming in. It's got to be a 4-inch pipe of water with tons of pressure to make it through the basement sprinkler system, the first floor sprinkler, the second floor sprinkler, and the attic sprinkler. That's how fully sprinkled a building has to be these days, and thankfully so we don't ever have another fire like we had in the neighboring lot. But the typical water line is just a 1-inch line, and that will feed off of, that'll be a fork off of the main sprinkler system line, and that will go to all the apartment units and any kind of need for bathrooms and sink area. So I'm learning a lot on this project, as you can tell. I've got a little story to tell you about this big opening. Before the new wall went up, this was just straight to the outside, and we're sure by evidence that that this was how this great big 30-pound raccoon was getting into the basement. One day, at the beginning of our purchase, beginning of our lease, we came down here, and this great big raccoon was dead at the bottom of the steps. He must have hit his head against the concrete and knocked him out. He couldn't have been there too long because it didn't smell yet, but I came down because my partner, he's claustrophobic. He didn't want to get the raccoon. I came down with a shovel and a garbage bag. I mean, I'm not saying anything, but I did get the raccoon. Yep. Now, this is the drain lines. I mean, everything is so interesting that's behind the scenes to me, which I had no comprehension of. And they just keep working, and pretty soon, voila, there'll be water. It's magic. This is some old generator thing down here. And the old boiler's down here, but it's nasty. We're not going to be doing anything with it. It can just sit tight and stay resting in the 120-year-old building. I mean, it's a good spot. It's been here. It can stay here. Would make a nice wine cellar, don't you think? Back in the 1940s, this half of the Kibbey building was rented out by Smith Music, a company that stayed in Marshalltown probably 40 years or more. And this basement, as bad as it looks, was probably a practice room for some of the kids that came down and had music lessons, because they had a nice drop ceiling and stuff going on. And this is just one of the many units that we found, and this is where they would have put the sheet music with every kid's name on it, and their method of storing it. Haven't quite figured out what to repurpose it into, but I think it's cool. Well, of course, the catacombs of the basement have a real significance on the project, because this is where they pull in the electrical lines and all the conduit and the fire panel, and the firemen would come down here, figure out what's going on. Oh, all the meters coming in. Gotta have a place for it. Holy cow, look at this. We have found a bunch of old cans, and when we took down the ceiling, these old cans have been here, and old peanut butter jars, like little peanut butter. So it's got a label on it. It's a little rusty, but sardine cans, and a little bit of age to these. We're here on the first floor, and we're working on fireproofing that whole residential area upstairs. And in order to do that, we have put some spray foam insulation in between all the rafters.
the joists. We've put this 5/8" sheetrock up here, which is fire rated to protect them. All of the chases, the bulkheads up here that have pipes and drain systems, electrical, they have this much insulation that is also fire barrier to any way that a fire would happen to get through there. So the point is to seal off any airway movement that could happen. All of the perimeter, every pipe that comes up or down has to be fire caulked. And I had no idea. You know, when I saw the budget of $10,000 for caulk, I thought of Menards. You go to buy a tube of caulk, you do the windows, you do a little around your doors. I had no idea $10,000 worth of caulk was so important. But caulk is a fire protector. And I have a whole new respect for the guys that, you know, manage all of the airway paths. There will be a fire rating done on this building to find out how tight it is sealed and protected. Many different processes to go through in that regard. But I'm glad to see that we're at this spot. Also over there they have steel channels put up, and the little channels are for help with the soundproofing for the upstairs, so that whoever is downstairs as a tenant, they will have a little bit of cushion from all people walking up there or music up there, and that's kind of cool. I mean, I didn't know that happened, but it does help with the vibration. So we're coming along, and this is all to complete the residential area that has to happen. Then in about 9 months, we'll start on this first floor renovation, and we'll have you back then. This is one of the RC channels that helps with sound and noise penetration, and pretty interesting, and you actually just connect the sheetrock to it. Hey there, you found me in the ductwork. Actually, these are going upstairs, but temporarily on hold down here. They are beautiful. They're going to house the HVAC system and heat flow, air conditioning flow in and out, and air conditioners will be on the roof, furnaces next to the units. I think they're beautiful. The spiral ductwork they look like about an 18-inch diameter. This part looks like a submarine ship or something taking off. So all of this will be for the upstairs apartments, and should add a nice feature. I think it's all getting painted. We take our fire protection seriously. I'm here on first floor with the sprinkler system pipes. This is probably just half of the pipes. The other half have already been put up on the ceiling, all ready for the water to go through once the system is complete. Now I'd like to show you where the water comes into the building. I mean, it's almost too good to use. Dwayne, which pipe was it you wanted me to tighten up?
All of them.
All of them? Oh my gosh. Well, this, I'm telling you, is a work of art. It's the water main coming off of the street, Main Street, coming down through the sidewalk, through 12 feet down. This beautiful water main is going to be wrapped around the whole building, coming as our sprinkler system. What a beautiful piece of work, all shiny and red right now. And the guys have finished running a lot of the pipe. I think they're moving up towards the second floor. So awesome. Take a look at all those shiny gadgets and gauges and crooks and crannies. Woohoo! Well, you guessed it. The sprinkler guys are here, and they've brought up the water main from the basement, and now it will connect all across the matrix of the second floor. Now these are one hefty pipe. This project never has a dull moment. I wake up in the morning and I hear the beep, 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 beeps going off, and look out the window and there'll be a semi dropping off another load of something, either blocks or insulation or doors or windows. It's just a never-ending entourage of trucks and road graders and boom lifts, and you can hear it in the background. It's so exciting. I am totally amazed with the scaffolding that they've erected in the background, and very impressed and appreciative of the people that have to do the job that requires that scaffolding.
All right, well, I'm gonna put these hookers on. Somewhere I got a roll of wire.
I'm here on the second floor of the Kibbey building, and right now I'm looking up at the new skylights, which they were historic in the 1895 build. Of course, they didn't have electricity, so they needed that light to light the doctor's offices and the bank that was up here. Also inside here is our walled-in area for the furnace rooms. For each apartment will have a furnace of its own. We're going to have a common area washer-dryer so that they can do their laundry over here. And eventually it's going to look really, really good. Well, we're in apartment number 2, and as you can see, the beautiful brick walls have been exposed. There was old plaster lath that was coming down, so we demoed all that. These are energy efficient windows that were put back in. Usually they try to maintain the historic window that was in it, but these ones were broken or not there and non-functioning. So we were able to purchase energy efficient windows, which will be great for this unit. And we've got a living room back over here, and this will be the island, and the kitchen back there. So I've got it all figured out in my mind, and I'm glad we're at this phase. Soon we'll be at the sheetrock phase, and that'll be another step. Yep, here I am in the bathroom. But I think it's awesome because I watched the delivery semi come and the crane lift up the 4 bathtubs, and they have to go in through the window before you close up the windows. And here we are. Ta-da! Bathtub. No walls, no sheetrock, no floors, but we got the bathtub. I never thought I would say this, but I know how to read all these pages. And by gosh, I'm on it. So we started with the conversation, the computer design leads to these beautiful, beautiful design drawings. They used to call them blueprints in my day, but whatever. We are here now. We've already got the sheetrock up and the beautiful, restored, refurbished 1895 windows are back in their position. They've been cleaned up, trimmed up, reglazed, reglassed, and we're back to where Dr. Kibbey would have started in 1895. These will not only have the original window and the sashes, but the trim boards are all being refurbished, and the cornices at the top, and all of these, there's 2 apartments, and all these front windows have been restored. So there's 8 of them, and really add a dynamic punch to these lofts. I'm here in the north apartment of the Kibbey building, and as you can see, our sheetrock is done. Magic. All the electrical, all the plumbing was roughed in, and then the finish coat of the sheetrock. And of course they'll come back in and mud it, but I'm just thrilled to pieces to see walls now that started as just a vision and a piece of paper and a document, and now we've got, I'm kind of in the kitchen here. There'll be an island going on here, and fridge, stove, you know, all the usual stuff back there, but we are like best friends, or let's say sometimes worst enemies. Yeah. But if it wasn't for Mark, the project wouldn't be where it's at right now, so I'm very thankful. All right, now I'm in the south apartment, and it has a different layout than the north one that we were just at, but its windows were too far gone to be saved. So they were either broken to pieces or not even there, and they were boarded up. So we were able to use energy efficient windows, and there are 8 of those installed in this end of the building, and since we're on the south, they really are just a wonderful, bright apartment unit, wonderful addition to these apartments, and I know that people will like these places. While I really appreciate the finished sheetrock on the walls, I also sincerely appreciate the work that it takes to get the job done. And this is just a corner of the remnants of pieces that have been cut and measured, and they're going to be discarded. But what a team of people that put this sheetrock up. Here we have another fantastically beautiful brick wall. And it's been sealed as well, and you can tell that there probably was an interior wall here by the discoloration, but it adds a lot of ambience to this apartment. We're in the bedroom right now. Another interesting historical feature, really, to me, is that all of the original wood floors were made out of fir. It was cheapest, it was easy to come by. Then, since the 1900s, this has been refurbished, and this whole south end of the building has this new maple wood floor. So we're going to finish out the maple and bring it up to the edge of these walls, and it will be refinished. So the front half of the building is going to have the fir floors, because that's what it was. The back half will have maple, and we're assuming that the underneath was rotted out, and that's why they had to put the new floor on. We are here in another apartment unit. It has a different design, and of course, the famous brick walls have really become exposed again. Just so enchanting and interesting. The snow used to be coming in here. I think that was probably in an earlier session. Now it totally tightened up. The roof has its new rubber membrane. All of the vents that have to go up through the roof are up there. 4 air conditioners are up there. 4 furnaces are on this floor, and we are just chugging full speed ahead. I'm excited.
Well, it's a really hot August day, 2016, and as you can see behind me, they have the wall finished to the Kibbey building. Beautiful, beautiful burnished block wall. I love it. And they're starting the stormwater project, which is, to me, a beautiful park. And it will be to all our citizens of Marshalltown a beautiful place to have a cup of coffee, sit down and have your lunch, have a glass of wine at the restaurant. Back here, they are putting in the beginning of the fountain, right there. The orange flag stakes, that will be a fountain, and I am so excited about it. Finally got the big machinery here. I have been waiting for this day forever. Soon this will be a patio that I'm standing on for the park, and people could come out down this way from the building, and that big mound of dirt, well, that's going to be a pergola. A 10-foot tall pergola with solar panels on the roof, and it will provide shade and also energy to provide electricity for the house panel. Everything that runs the outdoor lights, the pump system, and all of that stuff. So, like I said, did I mention that it's 105 degrees out here in Marshalltown? It's a hot day. I'm sweating, but the guys are working, and that's all I care about. The guys are digging the first big production in the parking lot, and that will house the pump system for draining that parking lot more effectively. We're looking at it from the north side, and I'll show you around back when we can move around over there. But this is a combination project with the City of Marshalltown and the Stormwater Management Grant that we got from the state Iowa Economic Development. So we're happy about that. It's going to assist with the whole water problem that that parking lot had. Well, all these big beauties, unfortunately, are going to be buried, and then nobody's going to know that these were right here. This is 20,000 pounds of concrete, and they will be the drains for this alleyway that's going along here. Each one of these is a drain, you know, like the drains you see that the water runs into in parking lots. I don't know why they need so much concrete, but by gosh, these are not going anywhere. These pipes will go underground and carry the water back to a pump and a detention chamber, they call it. You want to know what a detention chamber is? Very complicated, but the gist of it is when it rains, instead of the water just going down to the sewer system, it will channel into a underground percolating station. It's 30 feet long. It kind of looks like Legos with holes in them. They put these blocks all together. It's all underground. The water goes into that chamber, thousands of gallons it'll hold, many rainstorms. Then it goes into the earth. It's a more environmentally friendly way to handle rainwater. Then if it rains and rains and rains and rains, it gets too full, then the pump will pump it back to the sewer. Now I'm going to show you the pump station. This is the housing for the pumps for this whole system, and it's going right in that hole that they're digging right now. It's necessary because if there's too much rain, you still have to pump it out. But I think this will do the job, don't you? Did I mention that it's really, really hot out today? We're still here August 4th, 2016, and the last piece of the stormwater management project, and one of them most significant, is when it rains, it rolls off the roof into the gutters, down the downspouts, then into channels of tubing, pipes that will irrigate the park over there. All the plantings, all the flowers, and the vertical garden. It'll have a drip system flourishing that greenery. Then that fountain we talked about, hello, that's rainwater. Evaporation, effective use of our resources, and adding beauty to our downtown. I hope you'll join me for the next episode of Restoring the Kibbey, because I can't wait to show you the apartments. Oh my gosh, I want to live there. I'm checking out. I'm moving in. It's great. And the next episode is going to be showing the restoration of the tin ceiling. About 5,000 of these tin ceilings have been acid dipped and repainted and put back up on the ceiling with love and joy. And we'll get that done. Then we'll move to the outside stormwater management project, where it becomes the gallery garden. Oh my gosh, so much to happen. Join us.